Welcome back to my channel for a little video about 10 habits that I've implemented into my life recently that have noticeably helped my stress and anxiety levels go down. It's been really on my heart to produce content that brings value, or at least things that I would hope to see from creators that I watch that would enrich my life in one way or another. And a big recurring theme in my personal life lately has just been this weird anxiety, stress coming up out of seemingly nowhere for the first time in my life. And I was desperate to find any sort of habit, anything I could to help reduce those feelings. It really was at its peak in like December, January, and I tried so many different things. I found 10 things that I have noticed have had a huge effect on the way I feel mentally and physically. I tend to carry my stress and my anxiety in my body. That's how it just like presents itself as like this chest crushing feeling. And these have really helped me. So some of them might be a little more common and some of them might be really freaking weird and maybe you've never heard them anywhere else before, but I swear they help me and maybe they'll help one other person. So let's go ahead and get into the list of 10 things. Let's start with one that I know that you've heard, but for me, tidying my spaces the night before every single night is huge. Something I've learned about myself recently is I'm incredibly affected by my surroundings, to light, to noise, to the way things feel. I cannot focus if things are out of place. If my space is tidy, my brain is tidy, and that just helps me feel a little more calm, a little more focused, which in turn reduces stress, which in turn I think helps to reduce those anxious feelings. So that's become kind of a non-negotiable for me, part of my bedtime routine, almost more important than my skincare, my shower, or anything like that, is just to tidy things up, put them away. Because when I wake up in the morning and I get out of bed and I see everything's in its place, it's really like, we got this. It's gonna be a good day. Things are already going well. And I haven't even done anything except for wake up yet. Okay, I've tried journaling a lot, and for me, it's just really hard to stick to. I'm just not the personality type that enjoys journaling, but I have noticed an effect of like the mindfulness part of journaling and the way that I feel. So I have found a little routine that helps me and takes approximately 60 to 90 seconds, which for me is just perfect, chef's kiss. And I will say, I don't do this unless I have had a couple anxious days in a row. And then I'll do this almost as needed, almost like ibuprofen. It's like you don't take ibuprofen every day. If you feel a headache coming on, you take it. And this is kind of how I've treated this little journaling routine. And that is in the morning, I just quickly write down 3 things I'm grateful for. You hear this all the time from psychologists, from everybody, that gratitude really is one of the most powerful things that you could implement in your life. So I just write down 3 things I'm grateful for. And then I write the phrase. For some reason, I've talked about this in vlogs, but for some reason this phrase has been very helpful to me. And that's just, today is as easy as I choose for it to be. Like no matter what happens, how I react to it is within my control. That's what I do. If I'm feeling a little anxious, wake up, open the next page, 1, 2, 3 things I'm grateful for. Today is as easy as I choose for it to be. The next thing that does help me quite a bit is trying to fit in a morning phone call with someone that I love. Oftentimes it's my boyfriend or my mom. I'll also call my dad or my sister. Those are pretty much my 4 go-to. I do get a little bit of phone anxiety with people that aren't my immediate family, but it does help to connect with someone, especially living alone. I will say, if I just sit down and talk on the phone in the morning, I start to feel stressed because I'm not being productive. But if I do this while I'm getting ready for the day, while I'm doing my makeup, it's a win-win. I'm doing the things I need to do and I'm connecting with someone, and it just kind of helps me reprioritize the important things in life of family, relationships, connection, and that's helped me a lot. Okay, I have gone down a little bit of a supplement hole. A big motivation for me was trying to like help calm those feelings. And there's one thing that I think has had a huge effect, and that is simply magnesium. I learned that the majority of Americans are actually magnesium deficient. Apparently we used to get it through produce because it was in our soil, but now our soil has been pretty depleted of its magnesium and therefore we're not getting it as abundantly through our food. And because of that, I forget the stat I heard, I think it was like 85% of adults in America are magnesium deficient. but don't quote me on that. I think I heard it in a podcast. So, you know, I had heard that, and I was standing in line actually at Sephora of all places, and I saw this magnesium supplement for Moon Juice. And I have loved Moon Juice for a long time, since I was 18. I discovered them when I was in high school. And so I was like, I'll buy it. I threw it in. It was a $48 impulse buy. It was pretty expensive. So I was like, oh shoot, I hope it's a good one. And I take it at night before I go to bed. It doesn't make me too sleepy, but it does help me relax a little. And apparently it's also supposed to help with wakefulness the next morning. An unexpected benefit is apparently it relaxes large muscles, including your bowels. Things are just moving and grooving. But I have felt a lot more peaceful ever since I've implemented it into my routine. Maybe it's placebo, I don't know, but I'm not gonna stop taking it because I have noticed a big difference. Let's talk about coffee. I love coffee. I love coffee so much. I love coffee culture. I like waking up in the morning and making a little Nespresso is like my joy. I have officially cut out my afternoon cup of coffee and I have switched it with matcha. For a while, I was like, do I want to try to cut out caffeine cold turkey? I listened to audiobooks about caffeine, and then I decided the benefits really aren't worth the cost for me. Caffeine does have a lot of benefits as well, and coffee and matcha are where Americans get the majority of their antioxidants, which is like pretty sad, but it's true. So, you know, there are benefits to it as well, but I was not mentally feeling good. I would notice the days I would have extra coffee, that feeling would arise a little bit more. So what I've done is I have my one latte when I wake up in the morning. It's not even black coffee. It's just a shot of espresso and a lot of milk, which in my mind is better. I don't know if it is or not. And then in the afternoon, I will have matcha. I would say I find myself having an afternoon latte once or twice a week, but just cutting back 5 days a week has really made a big difference, I feel like, even in my acid reflux. So that is great. I hate working out. I'm just gonna say that. I've always hated working out. I do it because I'm like, this is what you're supposed to do if you're healthy. Ugh. I think in the deepest moments of that feeling, I was like, I need to move my body to get this feeling out of me. And it worked. And I was like, okay. And now I've completely reframed movement in my mind of being, I want to move so my brain feels good. And I've had a few really good weeks of almost no anxiety. And I still am like, no, I want to do it because like, I think this helps. I think that this might actually help. And so just reframing movement as I'm doing this to make my brain feel good has been really helpful. My next point is kind of a subcategory point of that, but I love podcast walks. For me, this has been the perfect way to get out of my head. I think a lot of people really preach like mindfulness during walks, and I do think that there's something to that, not distracting yourself, not consuming all the time. But sometimes I need to get out of my head, and there's nothing like moving, walking to where, you know, you have scenery going by, you put in earphones and you listen to a podcast. And depending on the day, sometimes I want to just do like light, funny, happy, like what we said podcast, like reading embarrassing story times, whatever. Or sometimes I want to learn. And so I've found quite a few different like nutrition focused podcasts that I've really enjoyed relearning about nutrition because that's what my degree is in and I retain very little. And it's been the perfect way to distract my mind. I don't look at my phone, which has been awesome. My phone's in my fanny pack. Relax my eyes a little, I think is a big part of it too. Move my body, get my blood flowing, and to get out of my own head. Distract my mind, either giggle or learn something new. That combination, chef's kiss, so good. Okay, this is one that might not make sense to some people. I wrote a list of people that are very important to me. And this has helped my anxiousness and my stress so much because sometimes I feel a little lost as to who I should be checking in on, who my community is. I have a lot of like acquaintances here in Austin, and I think I put a big responsibility on myself to like, oh, I need to check in with all these people, make sure they're good. But writing down like my core community has helped me kind of refocus, like if I check in with these people, if I make plans to see these people, that is a success in my eyes. And also on the days that I feel like a little bit more lonely, I can look at that list and be like, look at all these people that care for me and that I care for and that know me deeply. Something about that has just really helped reframe my need to fill my social calendar. But when I'm like, okay, here's my list of my people. I've seen all these people within the last 2 weeks. I feel good about that. I think I can take tonight in. I think I can take tonight to rest, to cook, to catch up on things. And I think that like giving myself permission to do that has really helped reframe my thoughts as well. Okay, these last two are pretty weird. Just buckle up, okay? There has to be science behind this because I swear I've seen such a correlation with this next point, but not wearing tight pants. Look at the pants I'm wearing today. Very loose. I think when I'm wearing tight, high-waisted pants that really constrict my diaphragm, I'm breathing more shallow. I don't have the space to fill my body with air, and breathing more shallow literally tricks my brain into thinking that I'm like stressed and anxious, and then I become stressed and anxious. I don't know if that's the real science. I'm sure there's studies on this somewhere, but I swear that when I wear tight, restrictive clothing, I get anxious. Please don't roast me for that one. And then last one, if you're part of the vlog fam or a part of my TikTok, you've seen me do this before. I don't know what it is. For some reason, for me, having weight on my chest is like the most self-soothing thing I can do whenever I'm feeling anxious. And I know weighted blankets are a thing. They're not heavy enough. They don't do it enough. And it's not the rest of my body. It's literally only like my sternum that needs to be soothed. I've had some comments saying something about like the vagus nerve. I don't know, yet again, don't know the science. I only know it works for me. I ordered a 30-pound medicine ball off of Amazon. I will say, I don't know if there's any potential risk to doing something like this, but it has helped me so much. Whenever I feel that feeling coming on, I lay on the ground and I roll this ball onto my chest and I just like lay there and do deep breathing for 3 minutes. That's it. And it is like a manual reset button. I'm a whole new person after that. It feels like it's squishing that feeling in my chest, out of my chest, out of my extremities, through my fingers, and then just out into the open. That's how it feels. It's like pushing it all out of me. A manual excavation of anxiety. I'm sharing some weird ones today, but those are the 10 things that I've started doing that I've noticed really have a huge effect on the way I'm feeling and have helped me, I think, cultivate this feeling of more genuine peace in the last couple months after lots of experimenting and trying whatever I can. So I hope this is helpful. If you have any tips that really help you, I've had some friends say things like a bucket of ice water, putting their face in that as soon as they wake up, like different things. Let me know. Let's comment them down below. Let's make a resource for people that might be seeking out this video to find some different habits that they can implement themselves to feel a little bit better day to day. Let's make this a little group resource. I would love that very much. But thank y'all for being here. Thank you for clicking on this video. Thank you for letting me share all my weird little quirks that I do. I love you. I hope you have the best rest of your day, and I will see you in a video very soon.
So let's take all night, all night.